What's up, everybody? It's me, Erica, and I'm back with another video. Insecure. Let's start off where we left off. This is season 7, episode 7. Episode 7 starts off where it leaves off when we saw Molly in the Ethiopian restaurant, and she was sitting there on her phone. Remember how I was going off on her like, girl, why you on your phone laughing and kikiing, bitch? You should be, you should be trying to text me and find out what's up with me. But we figure out, or we see that Molly saw Issa get out her car, and so she was playing it off like she didn't see her. And she was so motivated when she turned around and Issa was getting in her car. Was like, yes, girl, that's what you get, Molly. I was hollering. Like, you really thought it was her coming in. You really was going to act like you didn't see her and not even greet her. She was like, okay, here we go. Like, preparing herself. No, she's not here for you. She avoided you, and you're looking crazy. She gets back to the house, and she tells Andrew, I saw Issa. And he was like, what happened? Like, girl, what? And she was like, yeah. He was like, so are you gonna call? But she ran from me like she was running from a job. Okay, Molly. Okay, Molly. Are you gonna call her? He said. She was like, no, it's her fault. Okay, so get down in the comments and answer this question. What was Issa's fault? Tell me where Issa was at fault, please, because I want to know what the hell Molly is talking about. What was Issa's fault? Anyway, she gets a call, says she has to meet. They're going to Mexico, and she says she has a meeting at work. And she has to go to her meeting at work, and before they go to the airport. She gets to the meeting at work, and she's snappy to her admin, right? She's snappy, and I'm looking at her like, Molly, why are you snappy to this girl? That's not her fault. That's not her fault. But we see that she's snapping at everybody, right? We're seeing like a build up to Molly snapping on people, because you got some unresolved issues with your homegirl, and you taking it out on everybody else. Victor, he got it. He was the one. He was the one who got it. She's late to the airport, running in the airport. They get in the seat, and he said he's an economy plus, honey. He wants all the pluses. I said, I know that's right. Andrew, he was like, give me the champagne, give me some whiskey, give me that blanket right there. Andrew, so we look over and we see Miss Kim Fields. Now let me tell you something. When I saw Kim Fields, she looked so, even though she was like whatever her character was going through, Mabel, I guess she just got a divorce and she was taking a trip to get her mind right by herself. She gave that man 20-something years. I didn't write it down, but she was going to get every day. She was going to take it back. I said, I know that's right. But she looked so vibrant. She didn't look like the broke down woman we saw, the broke down crying ass woman that we saw on Real Housewives of Atlanta. I know she's acting, but I'm like, girl, well, where was this lady? Like, I don't know what it was. Maybe the cutting of the hair or whatever, but we love Kim Fields. Shout out to Kim Fields. We love Kim Fields. We love Tootie, honey. Honey, we love Tootie. Sorry. And Regine, okay? We love Tootie and Regine. Do you hear me? Shout out to Kim Fields. I was excited to see her. I really was. And I was like, yes, come through. Anyway, so she says on the plane, can we just chill when we get there? Because, I guess going to work, and she's kind of feeling stressed or whatever. And he was like, yeah. She was like, I got a surprise for you. He was like, I got a surprise for you too. And she was like, I can't wait. And he was like, okay. So, baby, he put his hand underneath the blanket, and they duplicate the viral video that we all have seen by now of the man and the woman on the airplane with his hand in the blanket. So you already know. Use your imagination. If you don't know, you better read a book. Victor and Lydia, we meet Victor and Lydia. I don't know if it was just me, But I don't like the way Lydia was talking to Molly. I don't like the way she was talking to Molly. Her little inflections changed. And let me tell you something. Everybody who comes across a black woman feels like they got, that is not black, feels like they got to talk homegirl to the black woman. And I think it's what humans do. And it's normal human behavior to do it. To, as soon as we meet each other, to say something to you so that that you know that I can relate to you, right? Because we are relational human beings, okay? Follow me, okay? Don't leave me yet, okay? And so I think that non-black women and even non-black people of color women, girl, they call black women girl, hey girl, you know what I'm saying? And it's a way to relate, but it's for some it's offensive, right? Just be yourself. You don't have to relate to me in that way. Be yourself. Let's relate to each other as individuals, right? And that's just how it goes. I'm hot right here. That's just how it goes. Is this gonna work? No, that's not gonna work. And I got a tank top on. But anyways, I might have to move. Anyways, I want the sun, but the sun is like boom. You see how it changes everything? Come on through. Yes, get into it. Anyway, that's what I'm talking about. So y'all know what I'm talking about. If you know what I'm talking about, let me know in the comments when you are greeted by a non-black person of color or a white person, especially women. They're like, hey girl, I can't stand it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Because I'm like, do I know you? Like, if the first thing that I think to myself is, why, if you're greeting me this way, do we know each other? Have we met before? Like, why are you greeting me this way? It's really weird. And it's the same thing the way that Joe Biden was talking to Charlamagne. Come on, man. Come on, man. Give me a break, man. Like, what? Why are you talking like that to him? And I was like, why do y'all know what I'm talking about? I don't even have to ask y'all. Y'all know what the hell I'm talking about. But Lydia was doing that. Girl, oh my God, you're going to be, you're a 10. You didn't tell us that Molly was a 10. Girl, you was giving me Tanya, a little too much. She was just full of compliments, even to the point where Molly was like, is your sister-in-law gonna try to fuck me? Cause I need to know, cause the bitch was full of compliments. It's too much, girl. Relax. We got this. It was a comment about calling Andrew gingerbread. So I don't know what that was about. Maybe he's like the overbird, like almost like the Chet in Weird Science, like you're the asshole older brother. Like, is he the older brother? Obviously they have a younger sister who is just a flighty, sounds like a free spirit, doesn't have her shit together type of sister, Fiona. We hear her name. So they're unpacking and Molly says, well, let me show you what I have for you. And so she brings out her little baby ass lingerie and he was like, he was like, okay, so that's all you have. So he brings out a lot of toys. He brings out all these toys. And so I guess she's not as freaky as she thought she was. Cause girl, lingerie, what girl? You can have on a t-shirt and some cotton panties, girl. It don't matter. It really don't matter. But anyway, they get ready. So they start fucking on the balcony. Great, wonderful. It was a little awkward looking. I mean, it's a comedy. I guess I don't know, whatever. And then they get up the next morning, they go on hiking and zip lining, and that was really cute. If you've never been zip lining, it is like the most freeing experience, like to feel like you are flying, like, and there's nothing else around you. It is the ultimate feeling. I love zip lining. I love zip lining. Love it. Like, I love, it's like really just like an adrenaline, but also just like it's a great feeling. And just, I imagine being in Mexico or in in environments. And you know, it's always a nice, when I went in this place, it was like I don't want to go too far. It was like a obstacle course in the forest, and it was an obstacle course. And in order, in order to go from one obstacle course to the next, you had to zip line to the next obstacle course. And we was climbing through trees. It was just myself. I took myself for my birthday in Rome, Georgia, in the forest down in Georgia. And I went and I had such a good time. And this man was like, was like following me on the course or whatever to make sure I was okay. Because I was by myself. He was taking pictures of me and everything. I was like, can you take a picture? He was like, yeah, okay. Took a picture of me zip line and everything. It was cool. It was cool. I had a good time. So if you ever get a chance to go zip line and do it, it's a great experience. So they see Mabel on the way up there. She was like, I'll see y'all at dinner. She was, getting herself together. So they are getting ready to go. Oh, they're after coming from ziplining or whatever. They're sitting on the bed just chit-chatting or whatever. And then he was like, oh, Nate called me like 3 times. So he calls him back and he was like, oh, I'm sorry to bother you, but where's the garage, how to get out of the garage or something like that. And then all of a sudden you hear this voice in the background. I didn't recognize the voice at first, but then the second time she spoke, I was like, oh, that's Issa, girl. Issa's just like whatever. So Issa is with Nate, and I felt like Molly at first, but she was like, of course, like, what are we, at Groundhog Day? He already done showed himself to her. She was being very judgmental. And but judging like the situation, but then also like judging Issa, you know what I mean? Like that's her deal with Issa. And he was like, well, and then she was like, what? And he was like, well, he had a lot of things going on. And she was like what? And he was like some mental health stuff. And she was like, oh really? Does Issa know? Like all of a sudden now it's okay. All of a sudden it's okay. It's a lot of mental illness. That's why it's a lot of, honey, let me just be quiet. That's why a lot of these relationships be the way they are, because people have unhealed and unresolved mental issues. That's why all this behavior is happening. Anyways, so he was like, okay, no more Issa talk. So that was fine with that. So I need to move because it's hot on the sun is like right here. So they get to, let me put my window down. Okay. So they, what happened? Oh, they took showers and stuff like that. And so Molly comes out in her lingerie, right? She comes out her lingerie. She ties him in the bed, blindfolds him. And she was like, before we do anything, honey, you got to face the nation, mother. And it looked a little awkward. All their sex scenes look awkward to me. I guess it's not, it's a comedy, and I'm sure they don't put too much, I'm sure they don't put too much thought into it, but you know what I'm saying? Are the sex scenes awkward to you, or is that just me? I feel like they're awkward to me. I was like, on the balcony, he was like holding her neck, and I was like, It just was like, I don't know. It was like, she wasn't bent over. I don't know. It was like, let me choreograph you guys' sex scenes, because they look a little awkward. That's none of my business. That is none of my business. So the next scene they showed them, they're at the pool, and all of a sudden Lydia gets a splash of water in her face, and I guess it's the chlorine in the water or whatever. She was like, oh my God. And you can see her like makeup splat, like, spilling down. What do you call it? Running. Her makeup was running, her mascara. And so she was like, Molly was like, I'll go get a towel. And she goes and walks up, and as she's walking up, these other two people, because I watched it twice, I was like, I gotta watch this again. So the other two people were leaving. They had grabbed their towels and they walked away. Thank you. So she was like, I need to see your key card. And she was like, you didn't need to see their key card. And she was like, what are you trying to say? She was like, you didn't need to see their key card. Just give me a towel. And she was like, ma'am, you need to calm down. That was homegirl's problem right there. She shouldn't have told Molly to calm down. That's when you make a person mad. Studies show that when you tell a person who is on their way to becoming angry or who is frustrated, when you tell them to calm down, their blood pressure rises. So don't tell people to calm down or relax when they're on their way up, because it's dismissive, okay? And it only makes a person more angry or angrier, madder, Mad Hatter. So she was like, just give me the towel. And then as she was getting into it with the lady, Victor walks up and he was like, oh, here's room such, here's my key. And she was like, okay. So Molly walks back. Now, Victor he didn't think about it. He was like, when he got back to the pool, he was talking about, oh, some guy over there said he was going to send us some drinks. And Molly came in the pool with an attitude. So Andrew was like, what's going on? Like, what happened? She was like, oh, no, she just came in contact with a overzealous towel lady. Just, doing too much on her job. And then Molly was like, no, and there was some racial undertones in that too. And he was like, do you really think that because you were black that she treated you that way? She was like, yeah, I really do. I think that. And he was like, well, she was like, well, you saw that, didn't you? And he was like, yes, I saw what she did too. And so it's like, you saw what she did, but they have two different perspectives. And then he says, do you really think it was about race? And then he was like pressing her. Then they started speaking in Korean. He's Korean, right? He started speaking in Korean. He's Korean? I believe he's Korean. So she was like, can we just speak English? And Lydia was like, oh. Like, the girl, don't do that. So it was a lot going on. It was like having a person of color, right? With Asian people or people of color, right? And then that's why black people don't like to be grouped in with people of color, because people of color often exercise anti-blackness. Sometimes unintentionally, but because of the society that we live in, you have been fed an idea about black people. So we don't want to be grouped in with people of color, because oftentimes people of color practice anti-blackness, right? And don't understand the experience, or don't wish to understand, or act or are ignorant, right? So he saw something different. He didn't think anything of it, and she thought something of it, right? So he was like, but you didn't see. And see, he had, if you are approaching it from a logical perspective and eliminating the emotion behind it and eliminating your past experiences and aligning those past experiences with this experience that you just had at this towel lady, because of past experience, you now believe that what she's doing is something that you've experienced in the past because it looks the same. But it's not. We did not see the woman not ask them for it. We saw her handing them a towel, right? We did not see what Molly saw, right? Molly jumped to the conclusion based on past experiences as a black person, right? And so oftentimes, I know I'm getting too much into this, but I thought it was wonderful because it's like you have this interracial couple and these two or multicultural couple, and it's like, he was like, Andrew was like, I don't act like that. She was like, y'all only see yourself as people of color until it benefits you. And Lydia was like, oh girl, no, you did, bitch. What did you just say? Then Lydia was like, okay, girl, because then Lydia was trying to be optimistic. Like, that's why white people want us to argue with each other. Let's not do this. That's what they really want. White people just want to divide us. I thought it was funny. And so he was like, well, you don't have to give it so much power, and it's being dismissive. And it's like, this is our existence in America, and so many people have these small microaggressions from other people relating to our race, that sometimes it's unconscious, sometimes it's intentional, and it comes from everywhere because that's the society that we live in. And unfortunately, Molly went off, and I don't think that her anger towards the brother was balanced. It wasn't like she didn't have to say fuck you to him, but it's like, I shouldn't have to. Black people get tired of explaining ourselves to people who I just don't understand. I just don't get it. Can you please explain it to me? Can you teach me so I can know? Black people, most black people are tired of that. Tired of doing that. So when you get these people having these experiences, it's like, you don't understand, and we're tired of explaining, right? Because you're not going to see it my way. He didn't even, and him walking back, great acting, because when he walked back, he was like, yeah, the man at the bar, he really did not think anything about it. And he didn't see anything that happened, nor did we. But because black people have so many experiences like this, when something looks similar to that, we jump to that and deduce it to that. And sometimes it's not. A lot of the times it is. And sometimes it's unconscious. It's unconscious behavior of the other person who is, who we're having the experience with. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's a lot of layers. It's a lot of layers going on. Y'all only think y'all only are people of color when it benefits you. And when you want black people to rally with you, or when you want black women to rally with you, now you want to include black women in your little feminist thing. Or now you want to include black people in your little cultural heritage thing. You know what I'm saying? People get tired of that. And it's like, okay. And that's where Molly, it was a lot of things. So Molly had having this experience that she just had, whether it was real to her or whoever else, it was real to her. She had this experience. Now she's coming back to this pool and being questioned by her man's brother about whether or not her feelings about it was real. It was almost the same way as Charlemagne did Amara La Negra. Remember when he was like, are you sure it's not just you thinking that way? And it's not other people. It's just you feeling, like, kind of being dismissive, like, seems like I pressed some buttons here. You know what you did, and don't be so insensitive to this woman like that. And that's why he got hit with a fuck you and said to Andrew, get your brother for real. But was her response off balance? Yes, it was. But as a black person, I understood that, but as in addition to the character has other things, underlying things that she's not dealing with. And so that was the energy that Victor was getting on top of all this other things. It's a lot of layers going on in just such a small scene. But Molly's character, which is the reason why she calls her therapist, is like, I'm having problems letting go of things. I think the response, and you let me know what you think. Do you think the response to Victor was disproportionate to what was happening? Do you think it was too much? Because to me, I thought it was too much, but then at the same time, I was like, I understood it as the character. You know what I'm saying? As the whole character as a whole. And oftentimes, we don't know the whole character as a whole. We're just seeing somebody respond to something, and we don't know their experience, right? So that's what it is. I'm sorry I went too deep into that. When he hit Molly with, well, it looks like, and she was like, well, I don't think like that. Andrew was like, I don't think like that. And then Molly was like, well, no, I'm not talking about you. You're different. He was like, how am I different? And that's what black people experience when they're in interracial relationships and they hear their partners, family members say things, and then they'll tell the black person, well, you're different. How am I different? I'm black. How am I different? Then all of a sudden you don't see color, but your ass will stop at a red light. You don't see color though? You don't see color. So how am I different? And so Molly was like stuck in that place right there. And she was like, no, he was like, oh, so now I see you are selective in who you give the benefit of the doubt to. And then that's when because he checked her right then and there, like, oh nigga, what did you just do? Like, but he was being an asshole. But at the same time, was he wrong? Like, oh, so now you choose to see Andrew differently, but y'all only like to be people of color when it benefits you, right? Oh, look at the dog. There's a bulldog. I love bulldogs. He is so cute. They're so fat. I want a bulldog, an English bulldog. I want a French bulldog named Huey P. Newton, a black French bulldog. And I want an English bulldog named Della Reese. And you ain't even got to ask me why, okay? I do. And that's what it is. Anyway, it's a little something. She was like, fuck you. Get your brother. So at night, they lay in the bed. There's no sex going on that night. And the next day, she rolls over and he wasn't there. She could look like kind of shocked. And I was looking kind of, I was like, oh no, is he mad? So he comes in and he gives her a smoothie. And she was like, did I mess things up? And he was like, no, that's my brother. I talked to him. He knew he was wrong. And whatever. So she ends up calling her therapist and says she's having a hard time letting go and she would like to see her therapist. And we've been asking for her therapist all season. I've mentioned her therapist in some comments and stuff like that because we need to, because she acted like she didn't need the therapist. Remember how she left the therapist that time and she was like, yeah, I'm good, you know, and it's not, you're having some issues. They get back to the airport and they see Lawrence, and Lawrence looks different. I was like, yes, Lawrence. Where was Lawrence coming from? San Francisco. And what's going on around here? So Lawrence was coming from San Francisco. It was very awkward, and she was like, you got it, dude. I knew exactly what she was talking about, and I knew exactly what she said. I knew exactly what Molly was talking about when she said, you got it, dude. And I knew why she said it. And I said, you are so stupid. And another thing, honey, that wig that Molly had on the whole trip, that is why I couldn't take their sex scene seriously. That wig was horrible. Horrible. Do you hear me? For our Mexico trip, it was horrible. That's why I couldn't take her sitting on his face seriously. That wig with that part right there, girl, you look like Sophia, girl. You look like you should be out in the cornfield running from Harpo. I was like, what is going on with this wig? I hated it. And so you got it, dude. So we see Lawrence, and then Lawrence calls Issa, and we see next week he meets with Issa. Issa was like, so what do you have to tell me? All excited and shit. And he's about to tell you he's still in love with you, girl. I don't want Molly and Lawrence to get back together. It's forward. It's progressive. Progress. Forward. Movement. Don't look back, okay? Issa. Well, we gonna see. A lot of people want Issa and Lawrence to get back together. They want it. Because they new people now, and they have changed. They've grown a little bit. Girl, I'm not here for it. Anyways, y'all. Take care of each other. Protect your energy. Hopefully we get a Real Housewives of Atlanta review today. If not, I mean, you know, it was really a boring episode anyway. They could have, like Nate said last night, could have added it to the end of the second part. They could have made the part an hour and a half and just been done with it. But anyways, y'all take care of each other. Protect your energy. Let's get down in the comments. Peace.